Welcome to Between the Shelves, the premier Save a Library podcast. I'm your host, Alex, and we're back after almost 2-month delay. So I apologize, listeners. We had the Fan Fest come up and a couple of other things. So we are back, and we're back stronger than ever because I have co-hosting with me today, Sean from Tech Services.
Co-hosting? That's crazy. All right, let's go for it.
You got a promotion. You're now co-host.
I am a promotional co-host. I love this for me.
Sean, why don't you introduce the topic that we are going to be discussing this week?
So today, because it's Alex and I, we're going to be talking about movies. We're going to be talking about war movies, and we are joined by a war movie aficionado, my mom, Sharon.
Hi, Sharon.
Hi. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for coming. So, Sharon, you have an accolade. You are the first non-library professional to be a guest on this podcast.
Wow. I feel very honored.
You should.
And with war movies, no one better than me.
So we had to go outside of the library field to get an expert.
Yeah.
And I think this is going to be a fun conversation.
It's going to be great.
I love talking about movies, and this should be fun.
That's going to be sweet.
Absolutely.
So we're talking about war movies in particular. Why are we talking about war movies? Do you want to kind of introduce, how did you get into war movies? Why is it your favorite genre of movie?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I got into it actually because of the incident that happened with Mike Murphy, who was a Navy SEAL who was killed in Afghanistan. He was born and raised in Patchogue. So when the incident happened in Afghanistan, of course, it was in Newsday, and it was a very small little article about it. And I was very surprised that it was so small since we were in a war over there. We were also in Iraq at the same time. And I was thinking, these 3 men were killed, and somebody that's a native to here, why isn't this closer to the front page? And it was something silly that day that had been on the front page. And I followed the story, and I was always so surprised that nobody was really talking about it at all. And that's what got me very interested in following it more and more. And then as they started making movies about it, Act of Valor came out, Lone Survivor came out, then I started really following it more. And I felt, it goes to the moral compass of, what is right and what is wrong. And you could bring it into society or whatever, but I found it very fascinating to look at people who join the military and then go into the special operations part of it, whether they're a SEAL or they're a Delta or they're an Army Ranger or whatever, they're a sniper or whatever it is they do. Why do they do that? And how they instinctively give their lives to protect people they don't even know. They go to rescue people, that we don't know. They don't know who they are, but they just go and do it. So what makes that person do that? And I find that very, very interesting. Yeah. And how they do so many things that we never know anything about at all.
Yeah, it only comes out years later.
Yeah, if
Usually
ever.
When there's, if ever. Yeah.
If ever.
And it was really cool. Well, not cool, but when the incident happened with Michael Murphy, I remember you showing me the paper, the cutout article from Newsday, and I used it as a current events issue in school at the time. And one of my social studies teachers was childhood friends with him. So I got a lot of insight into Michael Murphy as a child, as a teenager, and what he was like. And he would swim back and forth Lake Ronkonkoma 2 times a day.
Yeah, that's how part of his training to become a SEAL. He would do that.
And he's been doing that. He was doing that since he was 13 years old, something like that. So it was that kind of got me into it when I was 8 or 9 years old. And I was like, this is a really crazy thing to know about. And then my mom went down the rabbit hole, and then she kind of dragged me down with it. And around whenever Lone Survivor came out, so 2013, then I was just down the rabbit hole, and there was really no getting back out of it.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
It is. It's really cool.
Yeah, that's really interesting. While you were describing that, I was thinking, it's that era of war movies, around, I guess, Lone Survivor. I'm not sure what the chronology of what the first ones were that started coming out. Lone Survivor must have been one of the earliest.
I feel like it's one of
Afghanistan and Iraq.
Yeah.
Maybe Jarhead too, maybe.
Yeah, I feel like it's one of the more non-fictionalized versions of because I feel like other ones, there was Behind Enemy Lines, which was obviously a dramatized movie, it wasn't real, but you had
that actually was a true story.
See, this is what I mean, the pro. Yeah. But you had Lone Survivor, the Hurt Locker,
Black Hawk Down.
I'm
not sure what year that came out.
It was 2001. That's on my list.
Okay, yeah, excellent. Another excellent movie.
Yeah.
Okay, so before we we're already chatting our heads off already. Let's set up the episode. So we've each compiled our top 10 favorite war movies, right?
Yeah.
So should we just go around and talk about it and then see where that goes?
Sounds good.
Okay. Would you like to go first as our,
Sure.
our guest?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so obviously Lone Survivor, the movie Warfare that came out last year, Act of Valor, 13 Hours, which was about Benghazi. I know you have that on your list. I put Captain Phillips, which is not so much war, but to me, it's representative, again, of what the military does, specifically the Navy in that regard, and the Navy SEALs and what went on there. The movie Greyhound with Tom Hanks, I thought was great. Saving Private Ryan, American Sniper, Land of Bad, and Black Hawk Down.
There's definitely a theme with your list.
Yeah. That's why I said in the beginning, that's, where I gravitate towards.
Yeah,
Definitely.
with the exception of Greyhound, are there any others outside of Iraq and Afghanistan, or at least modern times?
I think Saving Private Ryan.
Oh, yeah, of
Saving
course.
Private Ryan.
All right, Sean, do you want to go next?
Yeah.
What's your list?
You're going to see a lot of comparisons.
Overlap?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't have it ranked either, but I would say my top is probably Saving Private Ryan. I really don't think that can ever be trumped. Then it goes Dunkirk, American Sniper, Warfare, Lone Survivor, Black Hawk Down, Apocalypse Now, which I recently watched, Alex, thanks to you. God, I loved it. The Hurt Locker, and then Hacksaw Ridge.
I have not seen Hacksaw Ridge.
Hacksaw Ridge is...
It's Andrew Garfield, right?
Yes, Andrew Garfield, directed by Mel Gibson. It is brutally brilliant. It's just like, it's a taxing movie, but God, you watch it and you're like... It's one of those movies that you can kind of like only watch once because it's just so brutal and so grueling. But the whole time you're watching it, you really feel like this is what these men went through.
Yeah.
I got to see that movie.
Oh, dude, you would love it.
I probably would. I mean,
Yeah.
say what you will about Mel Gibson as a person.
Oh, yeah.
He's a pretty good director, I got to
Yeah,
say.
he really he knocks it out of the park most of the time.
Agreed. Yeah.
Okay. This is going to be a fun episode.
Oh, it's going to be great. Oh, my God.
All right, here's my 10. 1957's Paths of Glory, starring Kirk Douglas. Saving Private Ryan. I think that's on all three of our lists. That might be the only one that's on all three of our lists. All Quiet on the Western Front. Both the 1930 and 2022 versions, but I'm prepared to talk about the 2022 version.
Yeah.
Apocalypse Now, we share that one. Full Metal Jacket, which I know you really did not like, which that'll be fun to talk about. Inglourious Bastards, which is me kind of stretching the boundaries of what I consider a war movie, because even I can be persuaded that it is not actually a real war movie, but it doesn't matter. The next one, Dr. Strangelove, again, is it a war movie? I don't know. How do you tell a Cold War story kind of thing? If you don't agree that that's a war movie, I have a backup for that one, which I'll talk about when I talk about Dr. Strangelove.
Okay.
Come and See from 1985. Did you have a chance to watch that? I know you checked it out.
I did not check it out, but my mom. We'll talk about that.
Yeah.
I told Sean not to check it out because I did not think that anyone should be strong-armed into watching it. It's something you have to stumble on yourself. Black Hawk Down is the next one on the list.
I think that's on all three of our
All
lists.
three,
Also,
I think. Yeah.
Right.
Awesome.
And my last one is Das Boot.
I saw that when I was in college, like for a class. Yeah.
I've never seen that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so good.
It's like 210 minutes.
What war is that about?
World War II.
Okay.
So how should we start?
I feel like
should we just start broadly with like how our lists are a little different, or
maybe
do you wanna
talk
just
about
go
like how
around
we
it?
share some of the movies, like maybe like Saving Private Ryan, maybe, because that's like something we all have.
That's a good idea. Let's start Friends.
Yeah. We'll slowly work our way towards not friends, but we'll start all on the same front. Yeah.
Saving Private Ryan. I mean,
My God.
It's phenomenal.
it's one of the best produced
Yeah.
war movies of all time, maybe best produced movies of all time. I mean, it's epic. The Normandy invasion scene is iconic.
Yes.
It's incredible.
Yeah, it was re-released in the movie theaters, I think, a year or two ago, and me and you went, Mom, and it was like, I hadn't seen the movie for, probably 3 or 4 years, and I was just like, on the big screen, I was like, I just kind of forget how brutal it is, because again, it really is one of those movies that like, you really have to lock in and you have to sit down and be like, I'm going to dedicate 3 hours to this because it's kind of taxing, but it's so great.
Yeah.
I still think to this day, it's just like, it's crazy that it's almost probably over 25 years old. And there still really hasn't been a war movie for me that like hasn't trumped it. It's just brilliant. The whole beginning to end, it's just great because it's not only like a spectacle, but the narrative is killer.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it just grips you from the minute that it starts. You're just brought right into what they're experiencing and the brutality of it, and also how, they're always looking out for each other, and some of them just walking through the scene. Body parts are here, there, and everywhere, and they're just walking and they're going. So it's unbelievably done. I thought it was fantastic.
I know that the actors went through like a pretty intense like boot camp training scenario to kind of get ready for the movie, because I think when we saw it in the theaters afterwards, they showed like a little like BTS making of featurette, and they were in the boot camp with like current, was it Marines or Army Rangers? I think it was like the branch.
Marines.
Yeah, so they were like in a boot camp with Marines and with World War II veterans who were explaining to them like their experiences of the war to really make it like as true to life as they could. And like watching them train for it, I'm like, my God. Like, this is training for a movie. You can't even imagine how much worse it probably was to be training for an actual war.
Yeah.
It makes you think like me myself, I'm like 25-year-old library worker. My God, I can never be doing that.
My back hurts doing a podcast.
Exactly.
My back is botched. If I did,
Exactly.
I wouldn't last 30 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, Saving Private Ryan, I think it was robbed of the best picture that year.
Yeah,
but it's there's not much to say that hasn't already been said about it.
Like it's Spielberg. It's great.
And Tom Hanks.
And Matt Damon too.
Yeah.
And I remember they separated Matt Damon from the rest of the cast, and he didn't have to go through the boot camp and all that because they wanted the cast members to like feel kind of like resentment towards him and feel that they were annoyed because he didn't have to do all these things. So like, because in the movie they're going through these trying times to get to him, and then they get to him and like he's kind of fine. Yeah. And I would feel like that was a really smart idea, whosever idea that was, because it kind of added to how the actors portray themselves in the movie.
Yeah. What a cast too. I mean,
stacked.
It's one after the other. Yeah.
It's just incredible. Like Matt Damon, I was looking it up. You think Saving Private Ryan, you think Matt Damon because he is Private Ryan.
Yeah.
And so much of the movie is about him, and he gets a lot of airtime, at least towards the end of the movie. But he's like 10th build on this movie. If you look up the casting sheet, it's crazy.
He's so young.
Yeah, it was kind of like the movie that kind of brought him. I think Good Will Hunting had already come out at that point. Yeah. But then for him to be in a Spielberg movie, that just launched him to a whole other level.
Yeah,
of
absolutely.
Fame. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Saving Private Ryan. I mean, it's a must see.
If you haven't seen it, you have to see it. It's just one of those movies that it'll always be iconic.
Yeah.
I think the only other movie we all shared was Black Hawk Down. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, what Steven Spielberg did for World War II, like basically showing it in a much more real fashion, because all the previous World War II movies were, I don't want to say glorifying World War II, but I don't think they showed like the nitty gritty of like the on the ground soldiers experience as well. But Ridley Scott does the same thing for modern war. I mean, he sets the blueprint in Black Hawk Down for basically every war movie that has come out since.
Oh yeah,
for the next 25 years.
Yeah,
and it's amazing this timing of this movie, because it's not about the Middle East. It takes place in Africa. Yeah. And Somalia, right?
Yeah.
But if you watch it now from a modern perspective, you'd think like this could have been at any point in time in the next 25 years. It's just like it's so prescient, I guess.
Yeah.
But man, it's like every director who made a war movie after 2001 was copying from Black Hawk Down.
Agreed. Yeah.
It's brilliant. I love Ridley Scott, as I've expressed a million times, but I mean he's just so efficient in his shooting. I mean, I don't know how else to describe it.
Because it is a very like, like quote unquote like mainstream movie.
Yeah.
And like I think like a wide array of people can enjoy it, but then also like if you really want to like analyze the film and get into the nitty gritty of it, you can, and you can really pick out things and be like, pick apart shots and camera blocking and casting choices and set design choices, and it goes beyond just being like a mainstream war movie.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it really brings the brutality, again, of what they went through, but also as you're watching the helicopters, going in, the Black Hawks going in, and there were 4 of them going in, and then they have those, what they call the little birds. Well, they're going to set protection, and how they show that, from a point where you can really see what's going on and understand what's going on, because this person's on this corner, this person's on that corner, to go to the east end, you're thinking in your head, how did they keep track of this? But they really showed, from my point of view, what these guys were really going through and what the story was really about and what they were trying to do, because they were supposed to be there not in a war capacity. We were supposed to be the peacekeepers. We were supposed to be able to provide food for the people living there. So they weren't supposed to be doing anything like this at all, as far as the public here knew. So I think that they portrayed that really well in the movie, that this was a secret that then came out. And after that, it was like, we don't want any more Black Hawk Down. Like, we don't want our service people being dragged through the street, that kind of thing. And I think they really showed that so well, how back, at the base, here are the generals and the other people who arranged this whole thing, and they're just like, oh, good God, watching this happen. And you see them watching it on their screens and saying, get them out of there, and they can't get them out of there, and the panic then ensues. I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah, I like scenes like that because it shows how it really comes from the top down, and then you have like so many people involved in the government who are like making these calls, and sometimes they don't even give it any second thought, and you're like, these are real men's lives that you're putting on the line day in and day out, and you're just like making a call just because,
Yeah, well, they always say politicians start it, and the military has to do it and finish it.
Yeah, it's just insane. And I feel like movies that highlight that like make people aware of it is really it's really great.
Yeah, excellent movie.
This one's, I mean, it's on my top 10. It's another must see, I think.
I'm really shocked by that. I mean, I know how much you love Ridley Scott. I feel like if he didn't make it, it probably wouldn't be nearly as good.
If he didn't make it, whoever that magical director would have been would be mega famous. Yeah. Because, I mean, it's just so competently made. I mean,
again, 25 years old, and it's still
very relative today.
It's better than anything else out there, as far as in my opinion. And, it captures that feeling of like being overwhelmed, like from. It's almost like the soldiers are in like a hive or something, because there's it's the blind spots and just being completely surrounded and just the anxiety and the pressure. And I mean this movie is almost one long action sequence. It sets up the helicopter going down, and then the next 2 hours are just a fight for survival. Yeah, and it just ratchets up the tension more and more and more. And I don't know, he just does such a great job of showing the perspectives from, like an aerial point of view, like you were saying, with like the helicopters coming in. And I don't remember any movie really showing like how imposing a helicopter, let alone a Black Hawk, can be. But then it flips it from, the ground level. The characters are in the Humvees, and they're just getting bombarded from down, up above and from rooftops, and it's just like, it's just hell. It's hell on earth. I don't know. He did a great job. Yeah. All right, let's move. Let's move on. Where should we go from here?
You want to do Apocalypse Now? Because my mom did. You watched a little bit of it with me this year. Half of it.
Did not like it.
What did you like about it?
I just felt, again, some of the movies, they're just very repetitive. It's a lot of loud noise. People get blown up, and then we go to the next scene, and who's yelling, and somebody else gets blown up, and where is the story in it? I'm very character driven. When I watch movies, I enjoy that, and that's what I'm really drawn to. And I also love the action and the film, the scene part of it. But for me to walk away from a war movie.
Yeah.
It's very rare.
Because is it broken up into 2 parts? Like, is there like an
Full Metal
intermission?
Jacket is maybe what
maybe
you're
I'm
thinking
thinking.
of. I mean, it's been
yeah.
years since I've seen it. There may have been like
But
an actual
Apocalypse Now,
intermission.
like, I understand what you're saying for sure. Like, the first half of it, I was like, okay, like, it's good, but it's also was old, so like the sound design isn't as good as it could have been, now and all that stuff. But then once it gets to the second half, and once they finally reach where Marlon Brando's character is, and the whole like kind of like he's kind of like in charge of a cult. No, not like what it is.
That's fine. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
Yeah, that was really what like captivated me, and then like from there on in, I was like, this is insane, and I was like, this is a really interesting take on a war movie. That was Vietnam, correct?
Yeah.
I'm so fascinated by Vietnam. I read so many books on Vietnam. I'm reading one right now by Jack Carr that my mom is also reading called Cry Havoc, which definitely check it out. I believe we have it here. And that movie, I didn't expect to like it as much because I was like, I read, Alex told me it was great, and I was like, I don't know about that. And then I read it when it was made and how long it was, and anyone who knows my taste, I'm like, oh God. But I ended up really, really enjoying it. I think I gave it a 4 out of 5, Alex.
Wow.
I know.
I guess I should have stuck with it.
1 star short of what it deserves, but so I mean, Apocalypse Now, I think is just one of the best movies ever made. But it is more of like on the like artsy, quote unquote artsy side of war movies. So I can see how it can throw some people off. As a matter of fact, I was speaking with someone at Cirque today about because that we were doing this podcast, and I mentioned Apocalypse Now, and she said, "Oh yeah, that one was really weird." And I'm like, yeah, it's weird. It's definitely weird. I mean, there's some very unusual shots and scenes, and it mixes in with like the natives and things like that. To the Vietnamese people, and it has some pretty trippy sequences. And
for sure, yeah.
Some really, I think, cool shots. I mean,
and
really
super gory, like super, like I feel like realistic, especially of Nam, because it was like such a brutal war.
Yeah, but going back to what you were saying about you like more character-driven stories, I think because this movie was made not long after Vietnam ended, I think, and a lot of Vietnam movies that came out around this time, I think the directors and the writers were trying to like put their stamp on Vietnam, like get their ideas out about the war itself.
Right.
Whereas modern war movies seem to be more about telling one or a group of soldiers' experiences overseas. You know what I'm saying? Like it's more of like a bigger scale kind of story almost.
Yeah.
Where like even going back one more war to like World War II, it seems like it's even bigger story. You know what I mean?
Scope,
yeah. Like it seems like the stories are about the war itself,
right?
And as the wars get more and more, they're smaller, I guess you could say. The stories themselves get smaller until they're based around like lone survivors, like basically about one guy.
Yeah, I never really thought of it like that, honestly.
Well, that's why I'm here.
Because you're just so smart. You're so wise, Alex. Thank you so much.
I don't know. I love Apocalypse Now. I think the sound design is great. I have to disagree with you, and the score is iconic.
I don't remember the score. I just remember maybe it was my TV. I was playing it on my Xbox. Maybe that wasn't the best setup to watch it from the Blu-ray. I don't know.
I mean, I was not born in '79, so I didn't see it in the theater. But I don't know.
I feel like in the theater it would probably be sick.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to get it for the what is it? The 60th anniversary coming up.
50. I thought it was made in '79. No. Yes. So it'd be 50 in 2029.
Well, there we go.
You never know. It may come back out in theaters.
Oh, it will. All right, let's move on. While we're on Vietnam, did anyone else have any other Vietnam movies?
No.
Well, I'll mention Full Metal Jacket here. I know you didn't like this one. I think this is a great movie. I think this one is kind of 2 movies in one. The first half is the whole boot camp segment, and then they go into Vietnam, basically.
Yeah.
I think both halves work very well. I think the first half is stronger because it's more based on it's like a personal story, like you were saying, like Vincent D'Onofrio's character and how he starts as just this innocent person and he is just completely dehumanized until it reaches the climatic ending. I think that is a fantastic story. And then the second half follows the other main characters, Matthew Modine, and I forget the other one's name, other actor's name. But basically, they become war journalists, and the story is about them in the mix, like in the actual war, but trying to document it and understand, try to wrap their heads around what's happening around them. And then you realize that this is a war where there is no clear cut winners or losers. There is no clear heroes or anything. It's just a mess. And I think that's does it very effectively in an hour.
Yeah, I think part two. I like part two more. Part one for me, it just felt like kind of repetitive, and it was just like so depressing because they're just getting.
It is.
Yeah, they're just getting screamed at and brutalized, and like I feel like maybe for the time it was very powerful because maybe there hadn't been other movies or TV shows made that like showcased like what boot camp is like. I'm not sure, but I feel like maybe now it's just like more people know about how brutal it is because you're able to watch documentaries on it and videos on it online. So it's like I was exposed to it. So I think it just didn't have as much of an impact on me. But maybe if I hadn't seen prior video footage of what the boot camp is like, maybe I would have enjoyed it more. If that makes sense.
I can't think of any other war movies that are like,
or maybe like
stick in the boot camp segment for so long without turning it into like a montage or something.
Maybe like documentaries. I don't know. I feel like I feel like it was just a lot of the same thing over and over again, and then it reaches the scene where where it just goes crazy, and like that was a very powerful scene. His entire breakdown, and that was the acting by him was incredible. And then I believe the drill sergeant won the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor.
Who was the drill sergeant in that?
R. Lee Ermey. He's he's basically a character actor at this point. But he was a real life drill sergeant, so that's how he got the role.
Yeah, and I remember like reading he won, and I was like, huh. I'm like, if I could just scream at people for 90 minutes straight, I guess I could win too.
But a lot of that was improvised too. So I mean, he was truly a madman.
Yeah, no, it was.
Which I think you have to be. I think that's the whole point.
Yeah, you kind of have to be.
War is madness.
Where should we go from here?
You want to talk about Dunkirk? I believe we've all seen Dunkirk.
Was that on anyone's list?
That was on my list.
Okay.
It's not my favorite movie by him, but God, I think it's so powerful because, like you said, the wider, bigger wars are less about the characters and more about the war and relying on the events and the cinematography to tell the story. And I really like that in Dunkirk. Some people didn't because it's really not a dialogue-heavy film. It's more of just about it's land, sea, and air, and it goes back and forth between all three parts of the movie, between all three locations within the movie. And I just feel like it's one of probably the most like visceral and like gripping war movie that I've seen. Absolutely. Especially like the one scene I think people are gonna know what I mean when he's laying in the sand and he's burrowing his head in the sand and he's got his hands over his head because I don't know if it was the German army or what were dropping the bombs on the beaches, and then you just see the sand blow up and over him. Like that was like you feel like you're in the sand with him the way it was shot. And Christopher Nolan, I feel like just like knocks it out of the park with that, especially with Tom Hardy in the plane, how they mounted the IMAX cameras on the World War II planes. It was the first time ever the IMAX cameras were ever able to do that, and it was just like I remember watching this in the theater, and it was my second Christopher Nolan movie in the theater, and I was like, wow, this guy's like, he's got it. Like, he just has an eye for it. And since I was 17, I mean, this would be the same if it was now. Harry Styles was in it, and it was his, like, big screen debut. And
it was excellent.
He was, I have to say, pretty good. And that was, like, a main draw for me to go to it. I think, but now that I'm, like, a huge Christopher Nolan nerd, it would, I would still go anyway. But
what about the scene when they're in the hull of the ship?
Oh yeah, it's so
and
good.
The water is coming in. They think they're safe in there, and they find the ship and they go in there, and then the water starts coming in, and and they think one of the men is a traitor, and you see like the humanity of it come out in the shot. It was incredible.
It was really kind of like the only scene in the movie where like the characters' emotions and like their like just true like selves are coming out, and I feel like it really shows how young they are, like these young men.
Yeah, they're like 19 years
18
old.
to 20 years old, and like, and it ended up being that one of them was a traitor, and he was a German posing as one of us in the ship. And I believe it was Harry Styles' character who realized it.
Yeah, he did.
And you kind of see like them just losing it, because it's days and days that they're stranded on this beach, and it's like one of these stories that no one really knew about. I had never heard of the attack on Dunkirk beach and how 400,000 men were stranded there. And then, the movie came out, and then of course I went down the rabbit hole, and Christopher Nolan and a historian published a whole book about what actually occurred on the beach, and it's just like fascinating. I feel like some people say like movies like glorify war, and sometimes they certainly do. But then I feel like that you have something like that where it brings attention to something that no one really knew about, unless you're like a World War II like fanatic almost, in a sense, because you know about Normandy and D-Day and like the bigger battles and events that happen, but not so much these smaller things. And it's so interesting seeing how like from off the coast of England, right, where just random men were getting on their boats that could fit 10 people. And there are dozens and dozens of boats just trying to get to the beach to save them. And it's just like...
They're coming across like the English Channel, and you see them coming in. They're just going knowing that they could be killed as well. But we're going to save these men.
And it's like they're saving, they're saving soldiers from France, from England, from the U.S. Like, it doesn't matter what country. It's just like... I feel like the little things that Christopher Nolan incorporated into that just shows like the power of like unity and like just people banding together for the greater good, and like just putting aside other differences and just trying to help, which I feel like is definitely important now.
Yeah.
I liked Dunkirk fine.
I mean, well, I just went on probably like a 3-minute tangent about how like powerful this movie is.
I heard you're not a big Christopher Nolan fan.
No, I'm not. I don't.
Gasp.
I have a lot of problems with Christopher Nolan. I'll tell you something I don't have a problem with. Director Wolfgang Petersen, director of Das Boot, a much better World War II film in my opinion. Told from the Germans' perspective, which I think is important. It's this movie. You like Greyhound, right? Yes. Which that's about a destroyer, right? Or is it a submarine? I forget.
No, it's a destroyer.
It's a destroyer. Okay.
Yes.
So you might like Das Boot because it's the flip side. So they're being hounded by British destroyers. I know Greyhound's American, but it's the most effective thing this movie pulls off is how it flips the roles, but you're still rooting for these guys, even though they're German soldiers sinking American and British ships in a U-boat. You feel for these characters because they're trapped. They're just signed up for the military. They're not Hitler. They're not ideological in any way. They're just trying to get by. There's a lot of downtime they show in the U-boat where you're just trapped with your friends and you're just trying to make the most of it. But then when they do have the battle scenes, these are some of the most intense battle scenes, especially in like naval warfare I've ever seen. Just the claustrophobia of the battles. And I mean, this movie came out in 1981, so I feel like so many movies owe tribute to what this movie did, because you see these movies where like submarines are going and they're going too depths too far than their boats are rated for, and you start to hear like the creak of the walls and bolts flying off. Like, that's all Das Boot. That all came from Das Boot. Wolfgang Petersen was nominated for Best Director, and Cinematography was also nominated in this movie for Oscars. I'm not sure if they won either of them, but I mean, you just watch the trailer for this movie and you're like, oh yeah, of course. Like it looks beautiful.
He went on to make some pretty interesting movies. Like that's like a pivot from, because that's like such like a wildly acclaimed movie.
Well, they realized he could do an epic, and then they started giving him. I mean, he did like Troy, The Perfect Storm, a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But it's just such a good movie.
I remember watching it in school, and because it is so long, we watched it over the span of like a week and a half, which kind of stunk because it's just the way that the schedule is for school. But I feel like I should watch it now again, just like in one watch through, and I feel like I would probably enjoy it a lot more than I did.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it just shows like the anxieties that soldiers have, their fears. And it's just interesting, like showing every war movie that you've probably seen, it shows like the Nazis as like this like menace that like they're just they're always like our backs are always against the wall. But when you see this movie, you're like, oh no, the British Navy was the best in the world, and these U-boats were just getting bombarded constantly and just constantly under threat. They were scared to death of the British Navy. So it's like an interesting like flip, like, oh yeah, like it must have been terrifying to be in a tiny tin can underwater while these huge naval vessels are just bombarding you constantly.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And then there's like a great scene halfway through the movie where the soldiers are like at a refueling station and they get invited to this officer like gala or something, and these soldiers are just like caked in oil and dirt and just grimy. They've been trapped in a boat for months, and they get out, and like all these German officers are just having this like debaucherous like gala. They're all, you know, drunk and drinking champagne and everything, and it's just like you were saying earlier, like it just shows you like the disparate perspectives of war from the people who are sitting in an office miles away versus the people who are actually following the orders that you're giving. So I don't know, it's just a great movie. I highly recommend it.
I'll have to watch that.
Yeah.
it is really good.
Yeah. I think that's a perfect segue though into Greyhound.
Yeah,
because
please.
you're talking about, again, being on this submarine, this tight ship. So when they made Greyhound, the all of the actors in the movie had to go and live on a ship. The actual one that they modeled it after is docked out in San Diego. So they lived on the ship for a week, and they had to, you know, eat, sleep. They weren't allowed to go off of it because Tom Hanks was saying, I wanted them to feel and be able to act appropriately and to feel what these men went through. And you can see when this is the first time he has his own warship, and he's trying to bring goods and protect all these other the shipment ships that are bringing food and whatnot over to England, and they're supposed to protect them. So this is the first time he's going across, and they have air cover for a certain amount of time, and then there's a stretch that you go that there is no air cover at all, and that's when the U-boats would come in and go after them. And it shows how Tom Hanks is yelling out the order, and again, it's so crazy to think like he's yelling it and they're yelling it down to somebody else, and that's how the order's going through, but they're literally on top of each other. And he turns around and he bumps into someone, and you see like the younger officer like so afraid that he was in the captain's way, and he's like, he's like, no, you're fine. But it was magnificent in showing those scenes. And when you go outside and they're shooting the guns at the U-boats and the noise in it, like they really were so effective in showing how, for the most part, they're trying to cover their ears, but you could only imagine their eardrums were probably ruptured, and it was so impressive, and it made you feel that you were in the middle of the ocean. The water is crashing up on top of them, and it showed too why they called them Greyhounds, because they could literally like come so close to the ship next to them, and they could maneuver quick in the water like a greyhound would be running. And that was fascinating because that was something that I really never thought about, and they showed that brilliantly in the movie. And it showed the actual ship, like at one point they're coming up against like one of the tankers, and they're like, they didn't realize how close they were to it, so they're moving the ship, and it looks like it's going to go right over, and it doesn't, and then it's able to level right back again. And again, they're trying to avoid
collision or something.
With torpedoes rather.
Oh, right.
Coming at them. And again, they do the same type of thing, and you can see the torpedo coming at them and how it just like skims right next to the boat, and they're all watching it go by, and it was unbelievable. And again, these are 19-year-old kids, 18-year-old kids, and in the beginning of the movie they sink a U-boat. At first they don't think they did, and then they see the oil spill. And all the guys on the ship, they're cheering, and this is great. We killed all these Krauts, and isn't this a great thing? And you see Tom Hanks' character. He goes, those are 80 less souls. And you could see all of them just stop, because none of them thought, again, like the Germans, these are just people. These are just the same as you on this ship as are in that submarine.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
like they may not agree with the government and what their government is doing, but it may have been a draft and they're forced into
Correct.
this, and it's like they're still 18-year-old kids that don't have a choice.
Correct.
And it's just like everyone just trying to. So it was
very. The flip side of it was very good, very well
that
made.
movie I watched last year, it was outstanding.
Yeah.
It was only on Apple TV.
I was gonna say it never got a.
It did actually. It got it, but it was a pretty limited DVD release. But I believe it is on Amazon.
I was gonna say it never got a theater release.
Yeah, he was upset about that.
It was supposed
Tom
to,
Hanks,
but then because of COVID, it didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that would have been like a spectacle. I feel like it would have definitely made more noise if it was in the theater.
Yes.
A lot more people would have gone and would have been aware of it for sure.
Yeah, that was a good movie. I think it would be a good companion watch to Das Boot.
Yeah.
Let's see. Well, I mentioned Das Boot, from the German perspective. I do want to mention Come and See, which I know is a very difficult movie to watch. How far did you make it into it? Not far, I take it.
No, not far. About, I would say, 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, no.
And as a mother, I'm sure it affected you on another level.
Yeah.
See, I watched this movie before I became a father. I could not watch it again.
Yeah.
Is it really that bad?
Well, yeah. It's very hard, and especially I think depending upon if you have boys, girls, being that I have 2 boys, there are different films that I cannot watch. He'll say to me, "Oh, life's great," and I'm like, "Nope, not going to watch that." I felt the same way about this. I was about 40 minutes in, and again, the scene in the beginning where the mother, she's screaming because he's telling her he's going to go off, and fight in the war, and she hands him the hatchet, just kill us now, because she has the twin girls, because I guess the husband is at war, or he's not there for whatever reason, and I'm sure she's thinking they're just going to starve. How are they going to survive, her and these 2 little girls? And, and then he's trying to make light of it, like to his sisters, like as the mother walks away, he's like laughing with them, and, but it's just so utterly tragic, because you see how they're living. It was awful, and they were Russian, correct?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
This is from the Russian perspective, and it's not only from the perspective of the Russians who get maybe there's the least amount of movies about their experience, but this movie is not. It's from a young boy's perspective, and not a soldier. He's basically trying to become a soldier, but I think he's 14 or something.
I was going to say he looked about really, 14, really young. 15,
and he looks even younger. I mean, I think it's really amazing casting. This actor, Oleski Krevenchko, I think his name. I have it written down here. I don't speak Russian. But anyway,
really?
fantastic acting. This movie's not for the faint of heart. It's a movie you watch once and you'll never... It's not like, it's time to put on Come and See again. And it's so devastating because no one lost more people than the Russians in World War II, with the winters, with the pillaging from the Germans who just ransacked their whole country. It's devastating. I mean, and you see it all from this boy's perspective in this movie. I know you only made it 40 minutes in, and I credit you for even making it that far, honestly. But the further you go into this movie, I mean, you just see more and more atrocities, and it's just such a heartbreaking movie. But the movie, this makes it on my list for 2 reasons. One, it shows the Russian perspective, which I think is very unique. But it's also, I think, the best depiction of like the horrors of war, which is something nobody should forget about. Because a lot of these movies, like, I even have Inglourious Bastards on on my list, which is just glorifying violence more than any other movie. So I think that's just something that shouldn't be lost sight of. And, of course, there's many movies about the Holocaust and things like that, but so few of them show like what actually happened to bystanders in war. There's so few movies that show like people who are not soldiers, how it affects them in war, like in occupied territory. And that's what this whole movie is. It's just going from village to village, showing this is what the Germans did to these people, and it's just horrible.
Yeah.
I have a perfect segue for that.
Oh, good. What do you want to talk about?
Mom, you should bring up warfare.
I was just going to say that.
I was thinking of Warfare.
Yeah. What I really loved about Warfare was how, first of all, there's no score in it because you don't need it. You don't even realize that there isn't one until it's done because, again, you're riveted. I mean, at least I was from the beginning.
What did you tell your mom about me?
What do you mean? I mean, I told her lots of things, Alex. But I told her that you only gave it a 3 out of 5.
Yeah. I just, it's amazing. What I really loved that they showed was, again, from the Iraqi point of view, because here are these American SEALs, troops, whatever you want to call them, just deciding, oh, that house looks good. We're going to take that house. And they just forged their way into the house. It's a 2-family dwelling. These are just people living their lives. They have nothing to do. They didn't ask America to come in and save them from anything. And these soldiers go in, they take over the house. The families are in one room of the place.
They're told to be quiet, go sit down in this room.
Exactly.
Don't make any trouble.
Right. And then as the movie develops, and then when you come to the end, I forget the actor's name.
Will Poulter.
Yeah. He apologizes to them. And it's a very, very small, action that happens, but I caught it because he is traumatized throughout the scene because of the actual warfare. And it just goes to show all the training they did, all the work they put into everything, and they're there as a unit, how rocked he was by what happened. And he can't think straight, he can't see straight. But he thought enough at the end, and he turns to the family, I'm sorry, because he realizes these people, they're just people, just like you were saying, about the Germans. They're just people, and the governments forced them into positions, and they didn't do anything to deserve that. Their house was completely ruined. They were terrified they were going to be killed. For what? Because they just came in and took over their house.
Yeah, like one of the last shots of the movie, it's like a wide shot from the road, and you see the house, and it's like the bombs that blew up the walls, and the like their little balcony is blowing up, and all the bullets lying everywhere, and it's just like, and the movie's 90 minutes, and like the tagline of the movie is that like this is all based on a memory, and it's the memory of the men that were there on the actual day. So it's like, I thought that was a really interesting additive to have in, because it's like you never know, is it entirely accurate, but from the jump that it's only based on their memories of how they recall the day. So like it just, I felt like was an interesting touch, and it was very just super realistic. I remember like in the first 20 minutes I was like, okay, I was waiting for like the movie aspect of it to kind of like kick in and for it to become like more dramatized, and then I realized I'm like, that's not what they're going for. Like they're just trying to show you 90 minutes straight of like the crazy shit that goes on during this, and like the hell that they endure, and then the hell that these people endure that just are trying to live in a little town that is, where the Taliban is just running rampant. Yeah. And it's pretty wild. It's definitely a great movie. Who's the I'm blanking on the director's name. You know him. The guy who Ray
Mendoza.
Ray Mendoza, who is one of the directors. He's the co-director and the co-writer of the movie. Yeah. And he was one of the Navy SEALs that was there on the day that the film shows. And he is also like a Navy SEAL like liaison for a lot of other movies. And he, like helps train the actors and helps work on set to make sure that, what they're filming and shooting is as close to real as possible.
Yeah, the movement of them, the training of them, like the actor said, like they really put us through it, because he's like, this is what it is. You have all this equipment on you, and you're carrying all this equipment, and you've got to be aware of everybody around you. But the most important thing is the man next to you. You're protecting him, he's protecting you, and and all that movement is very important. So he works on a lot of different TV shows and different movies to make it, again, as realistic as it can be in a film setting.
Yeah, I feel like it was because like they really focused on the bond of like all the members of the SEAL team, and then like has the actors went through a month-long boot camp, like Navy SEAL boot camp training for the movie, and they all got matching tattoos that say "Call on Me." Yeah, which is like it's like a little nod to the very beginning of the movie, and they were like, we feel like we're like brothers in a sense after making this movie, and they're like, and that just goes to show you, like, if we feel like this only after 3 months of making a movie, they can't even begin to imagine what actual Navy SEALs feel like in their whole lifetime. So I'm like, I thought that was really cool because these are young guys, they're in like their 20s, and the fact that they were able to like appreciate that and see like just a little snippet of like what goes into it, I can't even imagine.
Yeah, and the actor who played Ray Mendoza in the movie, he said, while I love the fact that Ray Mendoza was there every day and watching everything I was doing, he said I was scared to death. He goes, because he's intense and he's watching every move, and he would just constantly stop me. No, I told you I do it this way, that way. And he was like, okay, he said, but it really made it real. And they were able to meet other people that had been there that day. And I love, again, the shot of when they're leaving. They actually rebuilt the whole block as it was in Iraq, which was, I thought, you need that authenticity to see how people really live in these other countries and how simple, it's just a very simple dwelling compared to what we have.
So I have mixed feelings about this movie, but what I will say I did like a lot about this movie is the final scene, because the movie ends so abruptly. Like they're evac, and then it's boom, it's over.
It's over, yeah.
Which I think is effective in two ways. It shows it's in Afghanistan, right?
Correct.
It's the Afghani perspective that...
Oh, no, I'm sorry, Iraq.
Yeah. The Iraqi perspective that, we're only getting 90 minutes of these people's lives. And the movie ends the second that the U.S. troops are out of there.
Right.
So, and it ends with just a shot of just this empty, devastated street. And I think it shows we do just ignore these people the second we're out of there.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And it also shows, I might be making this up, but I think it holds on like one of the children or one of the people who lived in the house for a second or something.
They like walk out of their front door and they see the street.
And it's for me, my first thought was, no wonder these people hate us. And I'm speaking broadly, but no wonder they're...
Oh, totally.
Like, this is how we make enemies in the world. When we come in for 90 minutes, we blow up everything, we get out of there, and this is what they're left with, a bloody kitchen and all the windows shot up. And
absolutely.
So, I don't know. I liked the way it ended.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was a powerful ending because again, it shows that okay, we're gone.
Because it's not like
we've decimated your life now.
It's not like a movie where where there's like a beginning, middle, end, and there's like a climax and whatever. But like, it's still, for me, it really just like made a mark.
Oh, totally. Like. When I was done with that movie, I felt it was one of the best movies I've ever seen. I felt it depicted, because I've done so much reading. It's actually based upon, they call the Battle of Ramadi. So I have read about that before, and it was very, very accurate to what was reported that happened during that battle. And again, I think what I liked most about it was it showed it from the other perspective, and I think Americans, or anybody, really needs to see what we put these service people, where the positions that we put them in all the time, and we have no idea what they're doing, and it's so important that we do.
And the trauma that it impacts on them of like having to do these crazy tasks, and it's like things that they may not want to do, but they have to do regardless because someone up top is telling them to.
Right.
And it's I remember like it was a pretty big talking point on Twitter and on social media, like amongst my generation, because people are like questioning like the release of the movie, and they're like, is the world really ready for like another war movie where it kind of glorifies the U.S. and how we win and we come out scot-free? And I'm like, I feel like this movie shows like the opposite of that. Like the one guy getting blown up and he's being dragged in and like his entire leg is gone.
Yeah.
That was not my criticism of the movie.
Yeah, I'm like, this is not. And I remember like when the movie ended, like the whole theater is kind of just like silent.
Oh,
and I was reading that a lot online. Like, people were kind of like just walking out, and it was just very quiet because no one really knew like what to say.
Yeah.
Because it was, like you said, it's a very abrupt ending, and then you're just like having to kind of sit with that for a minute.
Yeah. I think it's time to move on. We're all at an hour, and I've gotten through half my list. Warfare is a movie. Okay. All right, I have to talk about Paths of Glory. It's my favorite war movie of all time.
I've never heard of this.
Well, that's shame on you.
I know.
You should know it as a film,
yeah.
a friend of film. God, what am I trying to say? We've been going too long. It's Stanley Kubrick, the greatest director of all time. It's one of his first films. I think his second film, maybe his third. I could be way wrong on that, but it doesn't matter. Kirk Douglas is the star. He's phenomenal. It's his best performance. It's about a colonel in World War I who is defending 3 of his soldiers who are being court-martialed for abandoning what everyone understands would have been a suicidal attack. So Kirk Douglas is their colonel, and he's trying to reason with the general who wants them court-martialed to use them as a scapegoat, basically, to rally the troops to say, like, we're not going to tolerate cowardice. This is World War I, trench warfare. People, a charge to the next person's trench is basically a flip of the coin if you're going to die or not. And this movie just captures so powerfully just the absurdity of war and how you can't beat human emotions out of people. I mean, these people, their only crime was not wanting to die. And Kirk Douglas understands that, and he's trying to get these men free, or to get them proven innocent of being what turncoats or whatever the technical term is. So in this movie, the other effective thing is they never show the Germans. It's all from I think in the real life this is the French, the army, but they all speak English, so you can kind of whatever. Maybe they're English in this version. In any case, so they don't show the enemies at all in this movie. The only enemy they really show is the general, of their own side, who becomes monstrous because he's just so insistent that these men are cowards and they need to be punished. And this is why Stanley Kubrick is so brilliant. All of his shots of the soldiers are always in these confined, hellish kind of spaces. You're in the trenches. They're in their prison cell. They're always just the world is just collapsing on them. And then when they go to the general, who's played by Adolphe Menjou, who does also a phenomenal job, when they go to this general's office, or whenever they go to the courtroom or anything else where it's not a place of war, it's just these wide open spaces. His office is huge. It's almost surreal at how big it is. They have scenes where he's in his library and there's like a fire and they're in their smoking jackets, and it's just that none of that is explicitly needs to be said because you can just all capture it visually, and that's why Stanley Kubrick, he started as a photographer, so his visual
how
language
to make a shot.
Is perfect.
Yeah.
It's like so gross, like how they live versus the troops.
Right.
Yeah.
But it was also at one time that general was, that private, that Marine, that, that Army person on the line somewhere. So that mentality comes from someplace too.
Yeah. Well, World War I don't know. Like in World War I think they were just the rich people became the officers. I don't know if you had to like work your way up like you do in the modern times.
Yeah. I'll have to
but yeah, that's an interesting thought. I didn't think about that. In any case, I mean, this movie, if you like movies, you should see that. It's just one of the most beautiful movies ever shot. And its opening scene is a long tracking shot where they're going through the trenches, and you're looking from Kirk Douglas's eyes going through the trenches, and it's a long shot, like very unusual for this time period. And it just keeps going and going, and there's bombs going off, and then it does a 180, it flips. And now you're looking at Kirk Douglas walking towards you. And again, it's a long tracking shot. And I don't know how
you do that back then.
He was 29 when he shot this movie.
When was it made?
57.
Oh, wow.
And it's just...
that's a long time.
Because 2001 came out in 61, 62?
I think a little bit later, but around...
So it was...
He had a couple movies in between.
Before that, interesting. Okay.
It's brilliant. And... I don't want to spoil how any of the ending, but
I definitely want to watch it.
Kirk Douglas is just home run.
Well, he's amazing in everything he's in. Yeah,
he was fantastic.
But I highly recommend it, and it's not long. It's under 90 minutes.
I was on Wikipedia while you were bringing it up in the beginning. I'm like, I saw the runtime. It only cost them $900,000 to make.
Probably all Kirk Douglas's.
Yeah, probably, right?
Yeah.
All right. Do we have any other movies we need to get to? I have only one more I really want to mention.
Did you want to mention anything else about Lone Survivor?
No, it's just that I think every single person should see it. Other than that, because I think with what drew me against Lone Survivor was the moral compass of a person versus the rules of engagement. Because there was, after the movie came out and people started to then think about the whole story, it was, well, why didn't they just shoot these goat herders that came upon them? And Mike Murphy, the way that, Marcus Luttrell, and again, it's just his version. He's the only one that survived it. And he said that, Murphy was adamant that we don't do that. And he also said, if we shoot them, the villagers are going to realize that they never returned with the goats. What happened to them in the mountains? And they're going to come look for us anyway. But again, we don't shoot people. We follow the rules of engagement. And that was the whole point of that movie as they went along, was that they wanted to portray that character, that he was very clear, this is right, this is wrong, and we don't do what is wrong. And they say that that's how he was from the time he was a child. And his mother has been interviewed obviously multiple times, and she said people would ask me, how did you raise him to be like so ethical? Like he was always protecting the kid who was picked on in school. And she goes, I gave birth to him. I don't know how he became that. She's like, because he just was that from the moment he started. So to me, that's the huge part. And I think, again, with regard to war, that people need to realize that they're faced with decisions like this all the time. Do I protect myself and kill these people so that I live, or do I do what is right? Yeah, what is expected of me? It was very clear what the rules of engagement are, and a lot of the military, they don't feel they should have to abide by that. It's a big controversy within the military. They feel, one of the SEALs actually says, we do what we have to do. Nobody will know. And basically it's like, I'll know what I did.
Yeah, it's like a reverse, the train dilemma, if you've ever heard that. Do you kill one person to save 10? It's kind of like, it was like a kind of a reverse of that. Like, do you kill 4 people so you can kill this guy who kills even more people? So, yeah.
Right, exactly.
And
that was an interesting scene. Yeah.
Another little plug here. If anyone wants to learn more about it, we have a museum pass for the Michael Murphy Museum downstairs at the circulation desk. It is
highly recommend it.
Is located in West Sayville, right near the Maritime Museum, and it is sick. We were there. God, Mom, you've gone what now?
Multiple times.
You were able to talk to Michael Murphy's dad. We were there for an hour and a half. Yeah.
I said one of the best days.
He's there all the time.
Yeah.
And it's a really beautiful museum if you ever get a chance just to walk through, and it goes back to when the Navy SEALs were first established around World War I. And it's very, very interesting because I learned a lot more than, it's not just about that day.
Correct.
It's about, Navy SEALs all throughout time. I feel like if anyone is into that stuff, they would definitely like it. And the pass is here. Yeah.
Thank you. Good plug.
Good plug for the library. Always trying to do it.
Sean, did you have any films that you need to mention?
I watched The Hurt Locker recently with Jeremy Renner. I thought it was a very good movie, directed by Catherine Bigelow. It's about not like the bomb squad. Was that what they would be called? Like the bomb squad specialists?
Bomb disposal unit.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
And yeah, it was a really, really good movie. It was a little long at times. I felt like it could have been wrapped up a little bit quicker because it's a lot of the movie is showing Jeremy Renner's character just kind of spiraling out. And I felt like after a while, it's like, you're aware of what's going on, but it's just like scene after scene of him kind of doing the same thing. But that being said, it was a gripping movie. It was very, it was just very brutal. It was very intense, and I did not really sleep well that night, I have to say, because it was just,
really?
Yeah, it was just, I don't know, something about it. Like, it was just really, because it was very realistic, and it was just seeing them like trying to take apart these bombs and seeing like they're 3 men in this random town, and there's like all these people around them, and it's, you don't know who's good, who's bad, and who's trying to attack you, and they're putting themselves in like such harm's way by trying to dismantle these bombs.
Yeah, I love the scenes too where he's got all the gear on, and you're like inside of it with him, and you can hear the heavy breathing as he's walking towards it.
How they were able to
menacing.
How they were able to achieve like putting the camera inside the mask and then having that shot, and you like even his walking, like his movements are very methodical and slow because the suit weighs so much because it's full of all of that Kevlar.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you feel like when the camera moves, you feel like you're in the suit with him. You've seen the movie, right?
I saw it when it came out. I haven't seen it since. I remember liking it when it came out. Wasn't blown away by it. Sorry, pun intended, unintended.
I mean, I'm definitely surprised it won the Oscar for Best Picture. Like that to me.
Oh, I don't remember that. It did.
Yeah.
That was kind of the taste it left in my mouth was being a little bitter that it won.
Yeah,
so.
I was like.
But maybe it's worth a rewatch.
I was like, actually, because I watched it like 3 weeks ago, and I was like, oh, I'm like, this one Best Picture. I'm like, yeah, it's great, but like
while you were talking, I was trying to look up what it beat out. I can't.
It got
that's what I was just going to say.
It got nominated for a bunch of awards, and it won that and maybe Best Screenplay.
Really?
And I was like, I would maybe be like Best Special Effects or Best Production Design, Cinematography. I wouldn't say Best Picture like at all.
Well, you don't know what it was up against.
Yeah, I'm here right now. Okay, here's what it was up against. Avatar. It's better than Avatar. The Blind Side. District 9. District 9's better than this movie. And
Really?
Education. And Education's better than this movie. Inglourious Bastards on my list, better than this movie. Precious. Mixed bag.
Yeah.
A Serious Man, one of the best movies ever made. Top 10 of all time for me. Up and Up in the Air, which is also better than this movie.
Oh, Up in the Air is such a good movie. That's with George Clooney.
Did I see? I don't think I saw that.
So yeah, Hurt Locker should not have won Best Picture this year.
Yeah. For sure.
All right, I just want to mention one more movie.
Of
And I know we're
Okay.
way over time.
It's fine.
All good.
All right, so we started this conversation with Saving Private Ryan, which I think we all agree is a great, maybe one of the best, if not the best war movie ever made. Here's, I think, is the spiritual sequel to Saving Private Ryan, and I know neither of you have seen it.
Yeah.
All Quiet on the Western Front, the 2022 version. It is the remake of the 1930s film, but this movie is epic in all the ways Saving Private Ryan is epic, and I think it outshines Saving Private Ryan in a lot of ways. The battle scenes in this movie are incredible.
They are really good.
You have seen it?
I've seen like half of it. Yeah.
Oh my God, Sean.
Dude, it was in 2022, and I was like, I don't want to watch a foreign film because it was.
What else? You were doing nothing. You were stuck at home.
It was 2022. No, I wasn't. The world was back open, baby.
All right. Anyway, so if you're not familiar, it's from this perspective of a young German soldier who's like really eager to join the war movement and everything, and basically all of his jingoism and everything fades very quickly when he realizes what war actually entails. Again, it's World War I, so it's the trench warfare. This movie just captures that setting so well, and in such an epic fashion. I mean, the production value is insane for this movie. Netflix, I don't know what the budget was, but they did not hold back.
No.
Acting is fantastic. The protagonist and his kind of friend, mentor sort of character who kind of shows him the ropes and is there with him throughout the whole movie. Their relationship's great. It's just such a good movie. And it shows the stories.
It's beautiful. It really
from
is.
all levels too. So the main character, he's this young boy who gets, enlisted or enlists himself. So it shows he's like the main story, but then it also jumps around between the captains who are ruthless and just, again, it's sort of like Paths of Glory, like just pushing these young boys into these horrifying situations regardless of any reason. They're just like, we have to march forward, go. So you get their story, then you get the general's story too, and how they finally reached the armistice. So this movie is like an epic. It's an epic's epic. I mean, it shows the war from every possible angle. The production value is insane. You get your combat, you get your personal story, you get the general's strategic perspective on things. It's just such a good movie.
Yeah.
I highly recommend it. Any of All Quiet on the Western Front. The original is fantastic too.
Did they get a media release for that movie, or is it only on Netflix? I feel like they were.
Good question.
I think they were trying to get a media release.
Yeah, I think I remember when it came out. I think
because
they were.
because the production company isn't American based, they were able to. because it's also just such a wildly popular movie. Like
Totally.
that's the thing about these things, that they win these awards, but they're only on streaming services. If you don't have them, it's like it's not fair. Like, you need to have them at a place like the library where you can just go to and you can borrow them.
Yeah.
Like, it's important.
I'm searching right now to see if the library has it, and I'm not seeing it. I don't think it was ever released physically.
Really?
Oh no, it's a steelbook, 4K plus Blu-ray, steelbook on Amazon.
Really?
Oh, and there's just the regular 4K version for $23.99.
That's weird, because it wasn't. If it was available on Midwest,
And there's a Blu-ray on Amazon.
Oh yeah, here we go. Okay,
Wow,
I found it. No, some libraries do have it,
You're
and
ordering the movies. Oh, okay.
we do own it. I didn't forget. It was released on Blu-ray, and Sayville has it. So come pick it up at Sayville. It is available right now.
I think all of the movies we've mentioned are here, because I got Come and See and Das Boot for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think everything that we've spoken about is here.
I will definitely watch Das Boot. I will watch that.
I think you'll like it. It is long, but
That's
I think when it came out, I think it was released as a miniseries. I think they did break it up.
Well, I was reading online, there is a newer miniseries like inspired by the film that came out in like 2019.
Okay.
I'm curious to see how that is. It's probably not as
What
good.
is it called?
Das Boot.
Oh, the same
It's
thing.
the same thing, yeah.
Okay.
It's just the show.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Do we have any final thoughts on war movies?
I'm kind of war movied out, Mom. Do you have
I am
any...
never war movied
Oh,
out,
I know
ever.
you're not. You can watch them all day long.
I can. I don't know what that says about me, but
Eh.
I find them very. If I feel stressed, this is bizarre. If I feel stressed and I watch a war movie, it calms me.
It's kind of like going to the gym. You're like, get all that.
It is cathartic
Yeah.
for me. Yeah, it totally is.
Well, I
Because
feel like
I get it.
Yeah, and I feel like it just puts things into perspective. Like, it may be like you may feel like you're having the worst day, and you're like, wow, could be so much worse.
I'm really not.
Yeah. So yeah, exactly. Kind of like.
I could live there, you're born somewhere, you live in Iraq, Iran.
Yeah, exactly. It really
especially
makes
as
you,
a woman.
really makes you think about things.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And I feel like that's the goal of them. Whether it's negative feedback or positive feedback, people are still talking about them, and I feel like that's probably their goal.
And I think the other important factor is, yes, with war, I don't consider myself pro-war. I consider myself pro-military. And I think watching these movies is important for people to see the brutality of what really goes on. And when they come back home and even here, how they have nothing.
Yeah.
The government can brag all they want about what they do for veterans. I know veterans, and I know how much has been cut, especially recently, and they have nothing. Yeah, and that's really a crime. And people need to be aware of that. They just listen to any president. Oh, we stand behind them. It's very little that they're given. And it's a shame. So I think that's a very important part of watching war movies.
Yeah, I think the power of film is incredible. I mean, that's why there is war propaganda films that come out whenever there's a war.
Yeah.
And I think it's part of my criteria when I was selecting the movies was I want to pick movies that I think accurately or at least satire war. And they want that it's not glorifying it, and we've used that word 100 times already in this episode, but it's true. Like, I don't want a movie that's going to show a soldier as a superhero,
Correct.
Because I don't want to promote something like that that's going to give somebody the wrong impression.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a video game.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Okay, so I think we've said enough about war movies.
It's one of the longer pods we've done.
Yeah, but I had a good time. This is a good
great.
Very
discussion.
good. Thank you so much. I loved it.
Yeah, thank you for coming on.
Yeah, anytime.
See, Mom? It was great, wasn't it?
It was great.
Well,
Easy.
We'll
easy,
schedule
right?
It
one
was
soon
very
again.
relaxed.
Yeah, we'll schedule. Yeah, we'll try to
We'll
figure out
We'll do a
something else.
lighter topic next time.
Yeah. Dogs and cats.
Rachel will be on it.
Rachel, yes. Oh,
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you again for joining us. This
thank
was
you
a lot
so
of
much.
fun. Sean, it's always a pleasure.
Always, man.
I'm happy
Always.
to butt heads with you over movies
Oh,
anytime.
every day.
All right. Well, listeners, thank you for joining us, and we'll catch you next time between the shelves.